Welcome to Hood Champion, Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Rolly versus Teo. People are like, oh man, y'all been talking so much about Claressa Shields. Well, that comes with the territory. She's about to fight. We got to talk about it. She stays in the headlines. It is what it is. But right now, we're about to talk about the boxing roll-up and what's going on this week. Yo, man, Rolly and Teo about to fight. You've been following the channel. You know, I got Rolly beating Teo. I personally think he knocks him out if Teo makes the mistake and stands in exchange with Rolly. Exchanges with him, kind of like what Keyshawn did against Claressa, which was foolish. Now, Teo has the faster hands. Rolly's slower, but he has fast hands, but he's got the power. And I just think this matchup is just fascinating. You know, I'll be live for the fight. The whole undercard, I don't know. But for the fight, yes. Because you got fighters here that are trying to answer questions. You know what I mean? Rolly's back is against the wall. Although he's a champion, people got questions about him and don't seem to still take him serious. You even got Claressa Shields still out here trying to convince people that she could beat Rolly Romero. Then you got Teo, man, who just he's looked totally lost since he's come up to 140. Now he's at 147, but his last fight against Shakur Stevenson, he looked crazy. So when it comes to Rolly, was beating Ryan Garcia at the beginning of his championship era or the upset of a lifetime? And with Teo, can he reinvent himself at 147 pounds after losing that 140-pound title to Shakur Stevenson, who's a very, very talented fighter? Now, Teo, he's moving up to welterweight for the first time, and Rolly's making the first defense of his WBA title. But what makes this interesting is someone's going to have confidence and someone's not, because they sparred together in the past. So that means they know some things about each other. And they were really good friends as well. If you know the storyline, the guys, I think they were moving around like brothers, giving each other money. They just really showed a lot of support to each other in the past. But now they're fighting for a world championship, and that's an incredible storyline. And I don't think they're going to be in the ring trying to be friends with each other, especially for Teo. I think Teo is really looking to put himself back on the map, and he knows he can't afford back-to-back losses. But just to see that he's fighting Rolly, you got to put some respect on his name, because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody else duck Rolly. Y'all can say what you want. They're fucking scared of Rolly because they know the risk associated with fighting that dude. They didn't want nothing to do with Rolly, and that's just a fact. That's because Rolly is a problem. He's one of the strangest fighters in boxing. Awkward, unpredictable, super strong, and he can crack. Everyone says he's the hardest puncher they've been able. It's one thing everybody says about Rolly. They said that MF can crack. And his biggest weapon might actually be his ability to make opponents uncomfortable to the point that they don't even want to fight him. Ryan Garcia found out. He thought he was going to be able to come in there. I thought he was going to beat Rolly. Shit didn't work out that way, did it? Rolly upset Garcia and captured that WBA welterweight title, and now he's trying to prove that it wasn't a fluke. And he's extremely confident. He's even argued that Teo doesn't possess anything better than Ryan brought into that fight, including speed and power. And I have to agree with Rolly on that. I'm being honest with you. Although it's a dangerous statement, I kind of agree with Rolly. I don't think Teo can have anything for Rolly. Nothing. What has Teo showed since he left 135? I would say after the Lomachenko, but after those two fights, what has Teo showed anybody that would make you feel like he's a threat? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why Rolly's confident. I agree with him. Teo's entire career has been built around explosive athleticism, and he just hasn't been able to show that. But this is his last chance, Teo's last chance to show the world that, he still has something. Because this is his biggest fight since, I say maybe Lomachenko. Shakur was big, but I say since Lomachenko, really. He became, a 2-division champion? Yeah, so Teo became a 2-division champion, 135, 140. He beat Lomachenko, became one of boxing's biggest young stars. Then he messed around and fought Cambosos. Cambosos clipped him. He rebuilt at 140. He had the Josh Taylor victory. Lost to Stevenson. Now at 140. So you see, I kind of jumped around a little bit there, but there's a lot of career turbulence for Teofimo Lopez. And his dad is, I always say stick with your dad. But his dad is not the best trainer. But his dad did get him to where he is. But his dad, when he's like, where's your power, bro? Teo looking like, man, like, shut your ass up. With all due respect, Papa, shut up. But if he beats Rolly, because he needs a statement, you know what I mean? He needs a statement, not just a victory. But if he can beat Rolly convincingly, all of a sudden they're going to say Teofimo's back. And there's a stylistic breakdown here and talk about the advantages of Teo. He has speed, he's faster, his timing is good, his boxing ability is on point, and he's explosive. So Teo needs to make Rolly miss and punish him immediately. He can't stand in front of Rolly, allowing Rolly to dictate physical exchanges. Teo will lose that. Now, as far as Rolly's advantage, strength, awkwardness, power, unpredictable. You don't know from where Rolly's coming from. And Rolly wants Teo uncomfortable. He wants exchanges. He wants Teo reacting emotionally. And if he can make Teo abandon his boxing strategy, this is where the fight gets very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. You got to understand the mental game. This may be more important than the physical matchup. Teo and Rolly have known each other for years. That's why I said somebody already won the fight, somebody already lost. They know things about each other. One's going to be comfortable, one's going to be uncomfortable. Teo has acknowledged their friendship but suggested that a true friend wouldn't have taken this fight. And that's a major storyline because now there's history behind the punches. And Teo has also recently revisited the fallout from his loss to Shakur Stevenson, including a tense discussion with his father/trainer about responsibility for what went wrong. So Teo enters this fight with something to prove inside and outside the ring. I just don't know if he's going to get the job done against Rolly. And everyone knows, man. I like Rolly, man. There's something special about that guy. I don't care what you say. Every time I look up, he kept winning. It's like Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia kept winning. I'm like, what the? You didn't expect Danny Garcia to win those fights, but you know what made the difference for Danny Garcia? Power and timing. And he could box, but it was that power and timing. And Rolly has worked on that. He already had the power. Been working on that timing and been in the gym. When you get a fighter that says, I'm a servant of God, I'm a servant of Jesus, and I'm a servant of boxing, you better be afraid of him. You better be afraid of him. That means that he ain't nothing to be taken lightly. And that's what Rolly has become. He's committed to his craft. And he's not killing himself to make 135, 140. He's not comfortable at 147. So he's fully rehydrated. His punch resistance is where it needs to be. Rolly is a threat. But I'll tell you this, no matter how good of a fight this is, I don't know about this $80 shit. $80 pay-per-view? Yeah, come on now. Shit, fire stick, $80? Boy, some boxing outlets are criticizing that $80 price point, man. Just looking at the overall card, to me, it doesn't deliver the value. The overall card is kind of whack. You won't even know those names. It's just these two big names. It's like that Claressa Shields card this past weekend. The supporting fights, them shits were horrible. Horrible, man. Don't get me wrong, the people could fight, but the shit was boring. It just wasn't. And maybe that's because they had the Zeus piece come on first, which was entertaining. Then they had this shit with Claressa's part and those fights right underneath it. It just wasn't entertaining, in my opinion. But the bottom line is that's a whole nother storyline for $80 and what you get for $80. But can Rolly versus Teo sell? Some fans are saying, man, if I'm gonna pay $80 and if it turns into a war, then it was worth my $80. But if it's boring, the pay-per-view price becomes part of the storyline as well. So it is what it is. Now, Claressa Shields just destroyed Kaye Scott. I talked enough about that, but I'll just tell you, man, she stopped in the 6th round in Atlanta. She reclaimed the 2 titles that she had dropped, WBA and WBC middleweight championships. It was her first stoppage in a couple of years, but it's, who can actually challenge her? Like, what's she going to do now? She's trying to get over there to MVP. They may not lift the ban. They may. Then she's talking about fighting Lauren Price. Negotiations supposed to be ongoing, and they've made significant progress in the negotiations, both sides, as far as purse splits, etc. And I'll just say it: Price is undefeated. She's a gold medalist, and she's unified the welterweight division. She has 2 titles there. Claressa Shields is a middleweight champion. She's moved up and down weight divisions. We all know Claressa has been whipping ass for quite some time, but what you could get here is America versus Wales, Olympic champion versus Olympic champion, and the self-proclaimed GOAT versus the future superstar. And that's much closer to the type of rivalry women's boxing needs, because I just don't think MVP is going to be so quick to lift that ban. Now, Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. Always some drama. The WBO ordered Haney versus Keyshawn. Top Rank won the purse bid at $8.5 million. Davis declined, and now there's a whole lot of criticism on Keyshawn Davis because he was calling for the matchup. He was supposed to be the guy to come out here and beat Devin, and he was doing all these little videos like he's looking for Devin Haney. Well, he had the opportunity to fight him, and he turned it down. So now everybody's just asking, why did Keyshawn turn down $2.1 million? Was it money? Promotional issues? Did he be an advisor turn it down? Was it a contractual issue? Career strategy, or something happening behind the scenes? No one knows, but I'll tell you what, the public perception is real, and people don't like it. Now, Teofimo is getting involved. Even he's come out here. He got a fight with Rolly, but he out here talking about Keyshawn's decision. You know what I'm saying? He's getting ready for the biggest fight of his career. He represents the opposite argument, though. He take the big fight. Teofimo moving up to 147 to face a dangerous champion. So the comparison becomes Keyshawn turned down Haney versus Teo moved up to fight Rolly. But I still think Teo should be focused on Rolly, but he did comment and give his opinion. But it does make Teo look even more significant compared to Keyshawn, because Teo's like, I ain't got time to be putting duck sauce on the fried rice. I'm going all out. And Keyshawn for sure is. But I don't think I know Keyshawn hasn't made the kind of money Teo's made. So at the end of the day, these guys got to be very careful in how they're stepping and how they're moving. Because Keyshawn wants to get himself in position to make the big money like what Teo's made and what Shakur and these other guys are making. Now, Amanda Serrano's fighting this weekend, for those who didn't know. And she's fighting on TikTok. I don't know what exactly is going on with MVP doing fights on TikTok, but obviously they got some smart people. Because I'm just trying to understand that distribution. It's very unusual, man. Stream live on TikTok through the most valuable promotions TikTok partnership. It's an experiment. But what if it works? Boxing's always asking, where is the next generation of fans coming from? MVP is essentially testing, can TikTok become a major boxing platform? What if it works? That's my thing. What if this shit works? If the event attracts a huge audience, expect other promoters to pay attention. Now, a fight that everybody's paying attention to is Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. I'm watching Conor Benn. I'm not going to lie. Conor Benn looking locked in. But he's always posting training clips. His body just keeps changing and changing. He's coming down in weight. He's looking in shape. Conor Benn is putting the work in. But at 147, again, I just got to say, the weight cut could hurt him, particularly because he hasn't fought at welterweight in several years. And Garcia's coming off the shocking loss to Rolly Romero. And he beat Mario Barros at 147. But some people still feel that Ryan Garcia is trying to rebuild his career, although he's a champion. And they feel Benn is trying to establish himself at welterweight. But I think the first left hook Ryan lands, the fight ends. That's another fight where somebody's reputation can change overnight. But if Ryan doesn't get Benn out of there, Benn is going to make it very uncomfortable for Ryan. But the good thing here for Ryan is Benn likes to be on the front foot, all gas, no brakes. Ryan's going to counter him. I think Benn runs into a hard shot and gets knocked out cold. And the Conor Benn train, or the Conor Benn hype, comes to an end. You got to understand the welterweight division is absolutely loaded, man. You got Rolly, the WBA champion. Devin Haney's the WBO. Ryan Garcia's the WBC. Jaron Ennis, he's up at 154. He's not coming back down. But some of these guys could move up to 154 and try to fight him. Brian Norman Jr. talked about even going up, but he's at 147. He's getting busy. Jack Catterall, Keyshawn is like he's between 140 147. Richardson Hitchens talking about going up there. So there are others who are positioning themselves as well to come up to 147 pounds. But I'm just telling you, man, the welterweight division, it really is the glamour division. It was at 140 and 147, now 154 kind of bubbling, but them guys from the lighter weights have moved up to 147. That whole stretch from 135 to 154, every division, a bunch of killers. A bunch of killers, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, it is what it is. Jaron Ennis could be fighting Josh Kelly later this year. Terence Crawford, this shit about comeback rumors. Bud is retired, man. He ain't coming back. But the people keep pushing this bullshit out there for clicks and views. Crawford ain't coming back. He training, get in shape to help his stablemates out, help his friends out. Crawford's not coming back. If they give him $100 billion, he'll come back. But he ain't coming back for 50 million, 60 million. I don't even think he'll come back from 100 million. You know, I'm just being honest with you. But at the end of the day, whatever Crawford chooses to do, that's on him. But I just think you look at this era right now, the sport of boxing has a lot of talent. You know, it's just getting everyone to fight each other still. Haney, Shakur, I don't know why them dudes won't fight each other. Teo and Rolly are fighting. You got Ryan Garcia, Keyshawn, Ennis, Hitchens. I mean, you could take all these guys and start mixing them up from 147 to 154. You could take some of them guys at 154 and mix them up with 160 pounders. Like, there's some real fascinating matchups to be made, but you know, boxing, politics, promotional relationships, money and mandatory obligations keep rearranging the puzzle. So that's why Rolly versus Teo is so refreshing, because they're actually fighting. Like, there was no bullshit there. I'm sure they're getting some good money, but they actually decided to fight. So I'm gonna say, don't estimate Rolly. Some people are picking Teo. I'm not picking him. I think Rolly stops him. I think Teo comes in there with something to prove, and all of a sudden, bing, he gets clipped. If not, I think he moves, and he may lose a decision, because if it looks like Rolly's the one who's the aggressor, Teo's running. If the judges feel like Rolly's doing most of the damage, even if he's only landing a couple shots and Teo's uncomfortable in there, they're going to favor Rolly. I just don't see Teo coming in there being able to pull the trigger. But if he does, he's up and away. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You got Rolly and Teo, Amanda Serrano against Mansour. You got George Littard against Dario Moreo. All that shit's happening across October 21st through the 22nd, you know. Then you got Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn in September. Then later you could have Claressa Shields and Lauren Price. Figure out what Devin Haney's doing next. We know Shakur is over there with Zuffa. Got to figure out what he's going to do. Jaron Ennis at the end of the year with Josh Kelly. As far as Terence Crawford, I don't know what he's doing. But I don't think he's coming back to boxing. That being said, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.